Test, test. Is this thing on? Okay. And now, for those in attendance and those listening around the world, it is time for the O on God podcast with your host, Tovaun Anthony.
What's good, people? I hope you guys are having a wonderful weekend, I guess, because it's Sunday here. Welcome back to another episode of the O on God podcast. I am your host, Tovaun Anthony, and with me today, I have the beautiful, the lovely, the ravishing, the spectacular, I gotta do it. I have the amazing Carly Harvey. How you doing?
I'm great. Thank you for having me here today.
Thank you for coming out. You know, it was a shot in the dark for me. Like, dead serious. I'm sitting there like, okay, well, last time we were in, like, a room together outside of what we'll talk about in a second, that thing. Like, I had just met you for the first time, and we did the live stream at Yusef's spot. And I'm like, she doesn't really know me. I don't want to be an asshole. Please? So, I'm just glad you said yeah.
Oh, of course.
Like I said, you are a superstar in my mind. Like, if you think I'm not watching, I'm watching on the internet. I'm like, this chick is killing it.
Well, thank you. Because I get those moments where I'm like, I'm not doing enough. I'm not where I want to be. And, like, so that means a lot to me.
That's the thing about being an artist. You'll never really have that. Like, until you've hit the goal you have in your head, you're always going to just be like, what's the next step?
Yeah.
What's next? I'm not there yet. And then you get it and you're like, do I smell the roses now? I guess I do.
Like, where are my flowers? And everybody's like, Carly's doing great. And I'm like, I haven't received my flowers yet. I don't have acknowledgement. And then I'm like, wait, let me count all the things I should be grateful for.
There you go.
And all the, like, how far I've come from, you know, just in an actually short period of time. Because for a while I wasn't hustling like this.
Oh, yeah?
I didn't realize how much what I'm doing now was needed. So anyway, thanks so much.
Wow. I mean, speaking of that, like, when did you start really pursuing, like, music? And then when did you start really grinding, I guess?
That's a long story. Well, I've always wanted to do music. Even as a kid, I was like, I'm going to be a fireman and a singer. And I'll sing to the people who were scared from coming from the burning building. Aww. And I was like, I'm going to be a doctor and a singer. And I'll sing to my patients. And then I started writing poetry, like, pretty early on. I'd say, like, 10. And my mom was very, like, impressed with my poetry. And I was like, I don't really think it's that good, but okay, Mom. And so I was like, I'm going to be a writer. I'm going to be a writer and a singer. So it was just always there. And I started out doing, like, choral stuff. So I did 5 choirs every year. Honors choir, all-state choir, chamber choir, madrigals, concert choir, you know, all of that. Through college, even. And then I joined an a cappella group. So that was a different form of a choir. And I was being trained classically in college, so that's... And then I met a friend who, his name is Wes Lanick, and he was like, he heard me sing a Bonnie Raitt song in my a cappella group, and he's like, you should sing blues. And I was like, nah.
Uh-oh.
Like, no, I don't like that.
Uh-oh.
And it was because my mom was a blues and jazz singer, and she did theater too, so I kind of was like, I didn't like anything she liked. Especially... The form of blues she liked was, I call it the Broadway blues, you know. It's just kind of like theatrical, like, Caledonia! What makes you be... And I insult people because some people love the song Caledonia. I hate it. So much. But, I mean, there's a way to do it. Anyway, I started doing blues with my friend, and we ended up having a long-term, like, collaboration with his band, and so that's when I first started doing blues, and I was like, oh, okay, wow, this is what I want to do. So we do gigs, festivals, and whatnot. And when I got out of college, I wasn't grinding, but I didn't have the tools. Like, I knew how to book a gig down at my school, but now coming to a bigger city, you know, you're calling people and calling, and you're sending emails, and you don't get responses, and it can be discouraging. So sometimes I was like, let me just wait for something to come my way. And then probably about 3 years, I was like in an abusive relationship. And so all my music like went by the wayside. So when that ended, I'd say like maybe I was 26. And that's when I was like, I'm going to grind and F that dude who told me I didn't have what it took. And and now I'm 36. So that was 10 years ago.
I didn't ask her age. I never ask a woman her age. So
You know,
don't get mad at me, internet.
I'm super open to it. Like, you know, because one, I look good for my age.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't look 36. But also, according to J-Lo, 50 is the new 30. So I'm basically a baby.
Listen, first of all, 30 is your 20s with a little extra cash in your pocket.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
like, I have two older brothers. One is, let's see, I'm 31 now. He's going to be 51 this year, my oldest brother. And then my middle brother is turning 42 in like 2 days. So it's just like, I see them and I'm like, they're still getting it. They're doing whatever the heck they want to do. And they don't look or act old. Not saying they act childish. Not saying that. But yeah, no, it is what it is. But yeah, girl, you look good. Shoot, I didn't know you were 36. I thought you were either my age or younger, to be honest with you.
Oh, wait. Well, how old are you?
I'm 31.
Oh, okay. We're in the same.
Yeah.
Well, I'm toward the end of the 30s, and you're at the beginning of the 30s.
I've been saying I was 30 since I was 27.
I know.
So it is what it is. So they're like, how old are you, son? Man, 30. And they like, really? I'm like, well, I've been here 27 years, but I'm 30.
Because it feels that way. After you turn 25, you're like, whoa.
Well, okay. Yeah, because then hangovers started getting you. Your back started hurting.
Yes.
You wake up with cramps in your left leg, and you're just like, wait a minute.
Or like the bottom of your ankle just because you walked too much one day. Like, and you're like, man. So when I was 25, I was like, I'm almost 30. Like, and then when I turned 30, I was like, I'm 30.
Man, I had a really good friend. He called me earlier this year. His birthday's in December. And, no, his birthday's in January. And he calls me. I'm getting ready for a show. And, no. I actually called him because it was his birthday. Sorry. But I called him. I'm like, happy birthday, fool. He was like, bruh. I'm like, what? I'm 30. I'm like, yeah? How you feel? You all right? He was like, I'm 30. I was like, all right, well, I'm going to call you back in like 20 minutes because you sound like you got to go through something right now.
He was vibed. He had the birthday blues.
I woke up at 30 and was like, all right. And just kept rolling. I'm like, I still got stuff to do. I was still training like almost every other day. So I'm like, I'm going to get punched in the face again today. The thing that I did for the last 3 years. All right. Yeah. So.
And people older than us are totally rolling their eyes, like the biggest eye roll you can think of. They're like, they're babies.
I like saying my age around my middle brother because anytime I say my age, it just, I don't know if like the idea of his mortality just hits him, but he's just like, I'm like, dog, relax. But then his oldest son will tell me his age, and I'm like, oh, wait. I feel it.
Yeah.
I get it.
One of my nieces, she's 14 now, and like she had like an 8th grade dance, and like there were pictures. I was like, oh my god, and she's taller than me, and like I don't even know what kind of presents to get her for her birthday. Like, I'm like, do you want this coloring book? And she's like, no.
Coloring book. Nah, listen, I have copped out of giving any of my nephews, nieces, like. I don't think about presents. Anybody in my family at this point, I'm like, money.
Yeah.
Like, what you want? How old are you?
That is what I did. They live in Richmond now. Shout out to Ayana and Malaya. I love you guys. Yeah. I just brought money in my pocket. I was like, here's a 20 for you. Here's a 20. Because I was like, God. I don't know what to do. But yeah, they are old, and that makes me feel very old. Yeah.
My God. And I get that. I mean, and would you say as well, like outside of, getting outside of the abusive relationship, like when you're getting older and you're getting more mature, it's like, do you believe like that helped with your drive as well? Because that's what happened with me specifically. Like, you know, granted, I was in an abusive relationship as well. So,
Really?
but
Wow.
that didn't. It didn't put too much of a damper on my. It didn't put a damper on my music. It changed what I was doing. Like, I had a specific perspective when it came to music, and then I realized I was in trouble when I put out an album that was just angry as hell. And I didn't make that much music that was angry. Like, or I'm not even gonna say angry. That was targeted. It was literally targeted, and even friends of mine knew that, and they were like, "There's something going on, kid." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm in trouble." Oh, well, time to get over this.
I use it as motivation. So yes, some of it's targeted, like I call it the Tay-Tay syndrome, Taylor Swift. Because you know, as soon as she gets out of a relationship, she's like, "Dear John,"
just totally destroys someone, and it's just like,
yeah,
that I ain't famous, and I would never date that lady. She would have too many stories about me.
right. I mean, most of my relationships have not been super public. My last relationship was my marriage, which ended almost 3 years ago, and that was the most public. But the previous stuff, nobody knows who I'm singing about, you know, unless you're like a close friend of mine. Like, we don't have to say, but all my friends who are listening to this, you guys know who the dude is who had a dead rabbit in his freezer. So,
Wait a minute. All right, dead rabbit in the freezer.
Yeah.
So hold on. Was it one he hunted? Did he have a pet rabbit that died and he said, I want to preserve him and put him in the freezer?
He had a 13-year-old rabbit. I mean, that's old for a rabbit.
I didn't know rabbits get that old.
Yeah, around 7 years, it's, you know, that's the end of their lifespan. This was a 13-year-old rabbit who had several, like, sinus issues. And this dude was like a chain smoker. Not nicotine, but he would smoke so much that, like, his bowl was dirty and tarry, like, you know, that stinky resin smell. And I was like, that can't be good for your rabbit who has like respiratory issues. And the rabbit it got to the point where he needed a bath. Like, he needed a bath really badly because of the respiratory issues. I'm trying to make sure it's not gross. Anyway, I looked up how to give a rabbit a bath, and I was like, we should probably do this together. And I'm a Virgo, so I carefully wanted to do everything. I laid out the whole plan. And this dude decided that he knew better than me. He puts the rabbit in the bathtub instead of the sink. And he freaked him out, and he slipped and hit his head, and then left him in a cold room while wet. And he died the next morning. And I was so sad. I loved that rabbit. And also, you have a 13-year-old rabbit. Like, that rabbit should have gone in Guinness Book of World Records. Anyway.
I just want to say real quick, anyone listening to this that is an animal lover, understand that, and she already said it, but understand she is talking about somebody else made the decision to do that.
Somebody else made the decision to do that, and that was the abusive relationship I was talking about. So there was little I could do after he had decided, this is how I'm going to do this, and I'm not going to listen to you tell me how to do it. I was like, it's your rabbit, and I, you know, just to avoid the conflict. And so the rabbit died on him, and he, like, screamed his life away. He's like, no! And I mourned and grieved the rabbit, but looked at him like, I was like, you're an idiot.
You did this.
You did it. And then he couldn't let it go, so he took the rabbit to University of Maryland and had an autopsy done. I was like, you're
what?
I was like, it's very clear.
Slim.
Right. And then he told me he buried the rabbit. I didn't have a car at the time, and this dude was just so problematic. Anyway, he didn't have a license, so I paid for him to rent a car to take it to one of his favorite little parks in Damascus, which is far from here, and to bury the rabbit. So we weren't living together at that time, and when we were moving together, his house was a mess, and I was like, you're going to get rid of all this junk. And I look in the freezer,
Oh,
and we already signed the lease and everything.
No.
Not only that, I had a lease with his mom because his credit wasn't good enough. So I was, locked into a lease.
Oh, you were in a pickle.
With his mother.
You were in a pickle.
I was like, why is this in the freezer? He was like, I just couldn't do it. I was like, that costed me $150 for you to rent that car and go out there. I'm like, you lied?
I'd be like, then what you do with the car? That's what I would say.
Listen, and this dude was a habitual liar. So back to the music.
There we
One
go.
of my songs, You Ain't Living Right, it is like the highest charting song. It does the best. It did the best from my latest EP called Kiss and Ride Volume 1. And that is the favorite song on the radio. And that is about going to the red light district. Yeah, this dude was highly problematic. So super glad I got out of that relationship. But thanks for the songs. Thank you.
Thanks for the inspiration. You helped even when you didn't.
Turn that heartache into inspiration and make art.
I mean, yeah, no, that's how that goes. I mean, for the most part, because like most of my life, I would make very like heavy and just crazy songs when I was the happiest dude in the world. When I was sad, I would make happy music. I don't know how that worked with me, but maybe it was just like specifically when I was sad, the happier tunes came from this is how I want to feel right now. And then
your higher self working
you don't need to be here, young man. Get up.
Yes.
Get up. Get on out. Let me stop.
Get up. Get on up. Stay on the scene. Like a sex machine.
If only I could dance. If I could dance, I would wear a wig and I would do impersonations all the time. I really would.
I feel like you have potential. I was a ballerina when I was younger, so I have good rhythm. I can help you.
Please.
Now, I can't do urban dances. I know urban seems coded, but the TikTok dances, I don't know what they're doing.
That.
Yeah, I can't.
Then they got the face, the cameras that follow your face now while they do all the dances and shit. And I'm like, I don't get it. I just wait to see one of my younger nieces and nephews do one of the dances and be like, all right, that's what's going on. Or I call her my niece anyway, but my best friend, Calypso, her daughter, she's always doing some crazy stuff. And I'm just like, all right, that's the dance. All right, cool, whatever. Is it me, or is it like every dance now looks like it belongs on that game Fortnite?
No, they all are. I think they're made that way. I don't know. I hate to sound like an old grumpy person, but I'm like, these kids, I don't know what they're doing. And yes, so my niece, Ayana, she tried to teach me the Renegade dance, and I was like, what? So I can't do that, but basic rhythm stuff I can help you with, and
Please do. I've been wanting to incorporate dancing in my sets for a long time, because it's like, dude, I play metal and stuff, but it's like a mixture between metal, hip hop, EDM, and stuff like that. So I make things danceable. Yeah, I make it very danceable when I'm not screaming bloody murder. But but yeah, I'm like, I want to dance. And then I remember I tried something at a show, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Let me just back on up. And Yusuf, he saw me too. He was like, hey, big dog, what you doing?
An impersonation of his face. Yeah.
I mean,
that's his look. That look.
He'll give me a look if I do something questionable. Now, nowadays it's a little different. This is way back when. Nowadays it's a little different. He's about the show, so he's not gonna make it obvious in his face that something's going wrong. He's just gonna keep doing what he's doing. But yeah, no, way back when he'd be like, you sure? Oh God, here we go. We're gonna talk about this afterwards. But yeah, so. More music. You are hitting it hard every time I see you. I asked the last guy this. He was a DJ. I had him on Obi-Wan Kenobi. Shout out to him. When the pandemic came in and it hit, how did it affect just what you do in general? When it came to performing out, I know it was limited and things like that. How did that affect just your workflow, and then also like, mentally that can mess with you. Like, oh wait,
Yeah.
what am I gonna do now?
Well, yes, and it also came at a time where I was like ready to tear up in my career. Like I
Mm,
had booked this awesome festival out in Portland,
mm,
and I don't have an agent. I do all my own booking. So I was
mm,
like, wow, and I just had people who believe in me vouch for me. But this happened without industry behind it. And I was so happy. And then that festival was canceled. Multiple gigs were canceled. At first, I was really freaked out. But I'm the kind of person, I'm a problem solver.
mm,
And I can't sit with lack of resolution.
mm-hmm.
So I did freak out. I was like, how am I going to make money? How am I going to pay my bills? My landlords were super kind. And they were like, we understand what's happening. We understand you're an artist. So they knocked my rent down really low. We weren't really sure how long it was going to go on. So they went from like 3 months to 6 months of
Mm-hmm.
lowering my rent.
Mm-hmm.
And then the PUA came through. So I was able to get unemployment. And I started creating music from a different place just because there was so much chaos happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I released a folk blues tune called Human 2.
Mm-hmm.
And that single won me a Whammy. So I was like, no, I'm going to keep creating.
There you
And I
go.
would do a live stream series. So I did an 80s night because I'm DC's Queen of the Blues, according to
Yes,
Dr. Nick
indeed.
Johnson from WPFW. Um, and I guess I know that that's what people are used to hearing from me, but I do have a side EDM project,
Uh-oh.
which we will talk about. And I love EDM, so that's like my second musical love.
I'm gonna see you on the tables at a club one day. Like I'm gonna just walk in, just out of my mind, just oh shoot, it's a party. Look up, it's you up there.
Yeah,
I'll be like,
we do like the chill out stuff. It's with a producer from Italy. His name is Taste of Dream, and
Mm,
we have some songs in Italian, um, and we have some English songs as well. So we've got one EP and one album,
okay.
and I believe the album is available in the US, but the EP is not because of
Mm.
copyright issues. So it's available in Europe. So if you're listening in Europe, you can get Among the Stars with Carly Harvey and Taste of Dream. Um, anyway, so I actually didn't do anything with him through the pandemic, and I wish I had. I think he was ill or something. So
Mm.
sending you good vibes, my friend. But yeah, I was writing my own stuff, and people were noticing it, and I was the moment I felt defeated, I was like, resolution, resolution. And so I had friends who were like, I have a studio. You can record your song. I believe in your song. I
Mm.
think it's powerful. And yeah, so I was still hustling through the pandemic, but it did teach me to slow down
Mm-hmm.
because I hustle and I can hustle till the bone till I'm tired and just worn
You
out.
don't want to do that to yourself.
No.
No, burnout is real, and you
Yeah.
don't know. Like once it takes its toll, you don't know if you're gonna get back on the bike the way you did before.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
nuts, man. It's nutty. It's nutty.
Yeah.
What would you say? Um, now that we're not out of it clearly, but things
Yeah.
are, they're open back up. Things are getting more,
Lax.
yeah, lax and free and stuff. So do gigs feel like they're getting back to normal for you as far as the people and
Frequency.
yeah, like definitely definitely frequency.
Yes,
Uh,
I'm working a lot.
oh yeah.
Um, yes, and uh, people are at the shows just sort of being normal. I still wear my mask at my shows
Hmm.
unless I am on stage singing.
Yeah.
And I sat in with a friend's band in Annapolis yesterday, and people were staring at me, and I was like, listen. I sing at the Apollo, and I'm like, listen, I go places, so you can stare at me all you want, but I'll be safely taking my way across the country and touring, and you know just feeling secure in that way. So I just can't care who is
No, not at all.
having issues with it.
When it comes to stuff like that, like if you make any type of decision that number one is not hurting anyone else,
Mm-hmm.
It's not. If anything, you're protecting yourself. And actually, the idea of the mask is to protect others, really, over yourself. So it's like you're just taking precaution. How I look at it is, if someone looked at me funny and I was wearing a mask, I'll be like, so if I get sick, you pay my bills?
Yeah.
That's all I want to know. If that's the case, hell, I'll take it off. Shoot, sign this right here.
Or you don't know what I have. Maybe I woke up with a tickle in my throat and I'm not sure if it's my allergies or not.
I could have leprosy.
It's for your benefit. Yeah, the plague is coming back. Oh my God. And something called monkeypox. Ugh, I can't even. I'm like,
wait, what? That's a thing?
Yeah, chicken pox, and my mom just told me about monkeypox, and I was like, I can't even deal with it. I can't even. But you know why? You know what I have here? I have hand sanitizer because people are dirty. People do all sorts of things. They don't even.
Biden says monkeypox cases something to be concerned about. Why have I don't be looking at the news.
I mean,
that's the thing. It's depressing out here. It really is.
I have to ask friends. I'm like, what happened this week? Cause it's just I need to have a real media diet because it infiltrates my dreams. I'm a highly empathic person, so I'm just taking on everything, and it's I don't know. Sometimes I can make good music from it, but sometimes it makes me want to just stay in my bed or just hate human beings.
Yeah, especially with what happened up in Buffalo.
Oh, yeah.
Now that one just didn't get by my head because everyone called me about it, and I'm like, all right, so.
And he's alive.
He's alive. Had a manifesto, and y'all are investigating this. Why? Like, what do you mean investigation? It's kind of plain as day.
But continuing to call him a lone shooter. My sister said something the other day. She said, if you have 18 lone shooters, what you have there is a pack.
Yes.
People should just start calling white supremacist group terrorist group. They are domestic terrorist groups. We should be just as afraid of them as we are of terrorist groups from overseas or the Middle East, which we, project a lot into. And I'm like, this is actually more scary,
Yeah, because it's on the inside.
Yeah, it's on the inside, and people are like, oh, that poor boy.
Poor boy. It's like, you do realize, okay, here's the thing, because I was talking to my mother about it, and I was talking to one of my best friends about it. I was like, the image itself, like, a thumbnail image itself of him being taken away alive in handcuffs, not a scratch on him, sends a heck of a message to a lot of people. It sends a big message of fear. It's a big middle finger to people of color. It's basically saying, hey, guess what? Nothing's changed. Nothing. And I'm probably going to end up being in jail with a bunch of guys that have my perspective. Potentially. Right. So it's like, wait a second. So you get to go shoot up a store and then go get fed 3 meals a day. But, I mean, you're away from your family, but I think you probably didn't care about that, actually, because this meant more to you than,
how it impacted the people around you.
Yeah, so it's just one of those things where I look at it like, also because I'm kind of a goof and a jokester, I'm like, I'm not really a fan of utilizing capital punishment to instill fear upon a nation to keep people in line. But cats like that, I just kind of want them to get catapulted into a brick wall. Like, after you do something like that, where it's just like, he did everything. He confessed. He confessed. You wrote a manifesto, then you went and did this thing. But here's the funny thing. I read somewhere that he pleaded not guilty. How do you plead not guilty if you wrote a manifesto? You can't do that.
I can't even. I don't even know all of those details. But
that's the other thing too to me, where I'm just like, he knows what he's doing. That's a mental thing where they're giving us this. That's a mental thing where they're giving us this. I can literally tell people I'm going to do it, and I'm still going to be safe. What's up?
And that is privilege, which people think, oh, well, I had a hard childhood. I'm like, privilege does not mean you don't have hard times or difficulty. Yeah. It means your difficulties have nothing to do with the color of your skin, something that cannot be changed, which is why blue lives don't exist, because you can take off your blue, you can take off your badge any day. I cannot take off my melanin ever at all. And it also gives the message that they're innocent until proven guilty. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt and hear them out. Where somebody what you do not know, you don't know if they are the person in that description. You will chase them down, hunt them down, put your knee on their neck till they can't breathe, and say maybe they had some powder. But you don't want to hear them out. You don't want to hear the whole story. It doesn't matter. And, and this is why I need a media diet, because
I stay away from it all for the most part. Like, of course, I get news. I'm gonna get it, and it's just like, crap, this is happening. This is what's going on out here. But yeah, just hearing stuff like that, it's like, oh wow, gee, thanks.
Yeah.
Gee, thanks.
That's why my song "Human" too is really powerful. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on in Indigenous communities, especially in Canada. Everybody's like, I'm moving to Canada because blah, blah. And listen, Canada,
you sure?
Canada's doing a lot of stuff right, but what they're not doing right is treating their Indigenous population properly. And there's a lot of issues. So when I wrote the song "Human" too, it involved like social issues in the United States. I didn't bring up those happening in Canada, but kids at the border, kids in cages, the Washington Redskins, which a lot of people don't even know where the term Redskin comes from, so they don't feel any kind of way about it because the issue of it is not present in their faces. But that was a term they used not because like you have red undertones, but because people were being scalped alive with the bounty. Like, you got a bounty, bring me 1,000 Indians, and to prove that you killed them, they scalped them. I mean, and so and there's like proof of that in newspapers and things like that. And so people are like, oh, doesn't matter. So my song does cover that too. Skinned alive because your skin was red. That's one of the lyrics. And I also talk about, the protesting and Black Lives Matter. So that song is more of like, you should be ashamed of yourself that you don't understand. It's an invitation for a conversation. Like here's some insight into this situation. And also, for people who do not know or believe it, South American people are also indigenous. They are mixed with Spanish from Spain because that's their colonizer, just like in the United States we get mixed with British or English or whatever. But some people are like, those kids are not Native American, and I'm like, it's South America.
What are you
talking
about?
We stole land from Arizona, Texas, New Mexico. They are crossing a border onto the land of their ancestors, and anybody who's not indigenous, listen, you should have nothing to say about it. Don't tell indigenous people what they can do on their own land. And that's all I'll say about that.
I can agree. I'm one of the people that will not say anything. I don't know, man. I keep leaning over like they can see me as I'm looking at the mic. And it's not.
I'm looking at myself. I'm looking at my reflection, and I'm like,
there you go. Look at that. Right there. Do that. Yes, indeed. Hold on. I gotta give you the pass look. You know when they look through the glasses. That's how you know a pastor ain't doing right. He just like, all right there. Sister Evans. So the Lord said.
It's so true.
It's like, hey, come on, Reverend.
Man, it is all up and through the whole system, but that is spot on. You are hilarious.
Look, I've been in a lot of churches, played in a lot of churches, was raised in a bunch of them too. I'm like, and it's in all of them. I was in the Seventh-day Adventist community, the Baptist community, Methodist community, Catholic community, Pentecostal. I'm like, all y'all got something.
Each and every last.
Y'all silly. I mean, the only time I ain't seen this is in a mosque. They just ain't finna play that. You come up there, Assalamu alaikum. They be like, hey, wait a minute.
So I have to tell you this funny thing. So my sisters and I, we're like the three stooges, basically.
Uh-oh.
Especially at weddings and funerals. We have ruined some funerals just by laughing.
No, you can't be them people. Don't do that.
But Bob is gone. let me tell you what happened. So my mom's family is Catholic, but most of the siblings left the Catholic Church, and their kids are Baptist or Methodist or whatever, or some other what do you call it? Protestant,
another
denominational. Yeah, so my mom, she did Baptist, and then she did like Unitarian, and so we've been to all sorts of churches. But my dad's family is Episcopalian, her family is Catholic. So in our family, most times funerals were like a mass and like blah blah, whatever, cut and dry, it's done. This funeral was like shocking to us. It was a Baptist preacher.
Uh-oh.
We have a gay cousin.
Oh man.
And he was trying to get people saved. And the eulogist could not pronounce my mom's name. She was like, Louse Harvey? Linda Harvey?
Oh no.
And my sister was like, is she stupid? And
no.
There's a lady playing the organ, but it sounds like carnival music. So,
oh no, yeah, no.
So my sister, the other sister, is cracking up, and she's like, ah! It was just so shocking. But then, when the preacher was trying to save my cousin, he kept looking at him with the yes. He was like, I know somebody want to get saved today, and I was like, I don't think that's supposed to happen at funerals.
I'm like, hey, big dog, relax.
And then he said, the devil's in the pulpit, devil's in the choir, and I was like, there's nobody in the pulpit.
This ain't the time to use that, Pastor.
I know. So,
on to the next lesson.
My cousin gets up and he was like, all right. Later on at the repast, he told my mom, he was like, I don't want to get saved. I just did that. So he was talking because we were ready to leave. Because, Catholic mass is an hour. Yeah.
You stand up and sit down a bunch of times and then you leave.
Yes. It's like 2.5 hours. We're like, when will this be over?
Dude.
So he only stood up to stop the guy. I mean, my mom was so mad. She was like, why were you laughing at my sister's funeral?
Did you not see the comical scenario?
It was hilarious. It was so funny. I feel so bad.
Let me tell you something. First of all, anytime like if I'm at a funeral and like my mother's there, and I know the eulogist is about to be like a Baptist style, because in like Adventism, most of the time they're kind of conservative, so they will be long-winded, but they're kind of conservative. They'll get up a little bit, but you won't hear like a praise break out, nothing like that. But I remember it was a funeral I went to a few years ago. My mother was there, and she's just like, okay, we're going to support the family. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's cool. I'm chilling. I'm looking at people, my condolences, everything. And then I'm like, who's preaching today? And this guy comes in out the back. Lord! And I'm like, oh, no. Literally. And when I say he hit the chest, he did, Jesus. I'm like, oh, here it is. And I looked over at my mother because I know she is not about that at all. And she'll do this thing where she sits, and she's just like, okay. I'm like, oh, she can't take this. I'm like, this the old reverend. He about to get it in for a good hour and a half. This about to be fun. He was killing it too. I'm like, I ain't know his back had been that way when he was trying to talk about stuff. Let me tell you something about her. I didn't know her, but I can see her in all of you. I'm like, yo, not the back break.
Oh my God.
Yo, they be going in, man. And I can't take it. I just laugh. And that's another reason why my mother doesn't like it. She knows I'm going to be giggling. She knows it. Because I'll be like...
It's so hard not to. It's like... It's a show. Like...
But you said carnival music. Like...
No, like imagine like organ like... Like it was...
No!
It was not good. And also, while people were talking, she was like singing. She was like, "Oh Lordy!"
No.
What is happening? Oh man, that's hilarious. We need a whole other podcast about
100%.
The show of
we gotta talk. We definitely gotta talk about that.
Church, like.
Oh no, I got stories for days on that as well. Just from one time I was and I'll get off and we can talk more about you because that's why you're here. But one time while I was in Florida, because I went to college in Orlando. And I ended up playing in a couple of churches because I'm like, I'm broke. I ain't got no money. You know, you in college. You're basically a hobo. And I'm like, okay, like I can play a church. All right, cool. I remember it was a couple times I was at this one church. Not going to say their names because I know the pastor going to get mad at me. But it's like they had such a long praise break. The pastor, like, I don't even feel like doing a sermon no more. We done. Look at all this stuff. Like, people just kept getting up, and the keyboarder, I was like, I feel like something's up with the piano player and the pastor right now, because every time the pastor wants to speak, all right, let's settle down. I'm like, yo, we are still playing. We've been doing this for 40 minutes. I'm like, I got somewhere else to be. What's going on here? The pastor came up, all right, everybody, I think we had enough of the spirit today. You know what, I see you at Bible study. See you on Wednesday. I love y'all. Let us pray. And then we got out of there. It was ridiculous. I'm like, yo, this is insane. Because also that day, this one dude, like during the first like praise break, dude gets up, runs to the front, runs out the back, and where the church was at the time, they rented this it was like a retail space they rented. I don't know why they had that place, but the dude left out of the sanctuary. And right when you get out, there's the street, and it's like a 4-lane street. He runs across the street to like the front of this Buffalo Wild Wings, and then runs back, and it's still just getting it, right? And I'm like, yo, Slim. I was like, listen, I got the spirit. Ain't no spirit made me run that far. All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you that right now.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm like, you did this for sure. That was you. Half of that was you.
I'm gonna send you so many things. Like we should move on to another topic. But did you see the man who was like playing the organ? He's like 1, 2, buckle my shoes. Shut the door. Lie down. Like it was. He's like, I know the Lord will provide. And he's like, don't put this on YouTube.
Of course they're going to put it on the internet.
I have to send it to you. You guys should check it out. I don't know the guy's name, but oh man.
That is freaking ridiculous.
Yes.
What is one hobby you feel you picked up during the pandemic?
A hobby. I don't know, binging shows on Netflix. I'm
gonna tell you. No, I gotta get this to you. I gotta get this to you right now. I remember because I did one thing that I never did in my life. Like about a month ago, is I got on dating sites. So I was on Bumble, and when people would tell me that their hobby was watching shows, I was like, "Is that a fucking hobby?" And it's not that I'm trying to be like antagonistic. It's just that when I talk to my best friends, like yourself, I'm like, yeah, she said she watch shows. He's like, so does she like review them or anything? Because you just watching it ain't no damn hobby. I'm like, you're right. Let me get my standards back. Okay, she's just pretty. Let me stop. No.
Well, I say that because
I started binge watching everything when I'm home.
Some shows I forgot. I'm like, how did this end? Because you're just like taking in so much at a time, and I think because what I do for a living, some people do as a hobby.
That's true.
And so, like, I do paint as a hobby, but it's not great. But I didn't do any of it during the pandemic.
I was about to say, God dang it.
So I didn't, like, start doing more of it. I did get on dating sites. Sea of garbage.
Yeah?
Swimming in a sea of garbage. Like, there's trash cans, banana peels, seaweeds, smuck, just swimming through it.
Look, it's I knew that because I have friends that have been on dating sites and everything like that. It never been my thing. And I was just like, all right, I'm going to get on this because I'm bored. Let me see what this is like really about. I'm like, wow, a lot of these motherfuckers are not interesting. But on top of that, I'm just like, are some of you crazy?
Yes.
Are you on here to actually meet people, or are you just on here? Whatever. Like, it wasn't hard for me to get matches or like people would want to meet up or nothing, but a lot of people I just did not want to meet up with. Because I ask questions.
See, I think you're a decent guy. I mean, I think the decent people aren't looking for each other or something.
Nah, they ain't.
But
not really. Or if they are, it's like they're kind of hurt. So they're dealing with what like their own thing, and it's like, oh, all right. So you might not really be telling me up front exactly what you want. Like I've dealt with the cats where it's just like, oh yeah, no, we can hang out. I kind of just want you to come through and just hit and get out of the way because that's all I need. And then the next day, they're bringing flowers to your door. And you're like, oh, you want a husband? Okay.
I think some women say that because they just want the chance for the guy to get to know them.
So it's a cater to the ego kind of thing. That's
right,
weird.
Like, let me tell you what I think you want to hear, and then once you get to know me, maybe you'll like me, and then I can start to, lay down actually what I'm about. Which
we need to break that.
Terrible.
Like, we need to break that right now, and I make that very clear.
Yes, just be honest. Now, I've met some people where I'm like, oh, I would never want anything with you. And there are some people where I'm like, I think when I got on the dating sites, I had just gone through a divorce, and I waited a long time, like a year and a half, before I was ready to like. You
gotta take your time,
meet people again. And so once I did get on the dating sites, I wasn't sure that I wanted a relationship with marriage potential, but I also didn't want to hook up because that just doesn't make me feel good. Like, I'm not number 2 on anybody's list, okay? I'm a goddess, okay? So I just couldn't deal with that. So I was like, I'm not used to hookup culture. That's not something I can do. So I would ask questions, let people know who I am, how I am, and I'm like, I want to go with the flow, and that means different things to different people. To me, it means don't force anything. Like, let the relationship become what it's supposed to become or what it's going to become, and no forcing, just allow it to be. Some people think go with the flow means like just,
vibe out and get it in. Like, what?
Yeah, and I was like, I just don't want to do that. And like, there people were lying or ghosting, which I think ghosting is like,
here we go.
so cowardly. It's like, for me, well, it's weird, and I don't want to sound like a hypocrite. Women ghost sometimes because it's like a defense mechanism. Like, we don't know how to, because sometimes we'll say we're not interested, and then they will keep coming, and then I also have a stalker who happens to be the dead rabbit dude. So. Right, so you have to say things so kindly and pleasantly. So no one's following you or like seeing you at the grocery store and like, hey, or just not taking no for an answer. So sometimes you're like, let me just back away. But I stopped doing that, and I was like, hey, let me just tell you, you didn't do anything wrong, but something makes me uncomfortable with you. I'm just not feeling this vibe, and so unfortunately. I don't think this can go any further. Yeah. That is much better than making a person sit and wonder what they're doing. So unless you feel like your safety is...
like riding on it, yeah.
Right. Then, like, even we're dating. We're probably seeing multiple people and trying to figure out which is the best fit. Well, then just say that. Say I met somebody and I have a stronger connection with them.
This is what's going on over here.
It was great to meet you. What is the worst that could happen? Am I going to cry on the phone? Like, no, it'll be a little bit of a sting, but let's say you explore this other relationship and that doesn't work out. If you, in things with me with integrity, let's say months down the road, you reach out and say, hey, I just want to know how you were doing. Well, there's potential. Not everybody is like me. Some people are crazy. Like, you don't want to be number 2, but the reality is, everybody is somebody's number 2.
Yeah.
Because that's what dating is. Like, and maybe, like, this person is
especially at our age, it's like, yo, relax.
Funnier. Yeah, exactly. So, for me, I wouldn't cut a guy off because he said he wanted to explore another connection. I will cut a guy off if you ghost me and then show up 6 months later and are like, hey girl, what's up? What's good? I'm like, what's good is you don't have any decency or integrity, and I don't have time for that.
Yeah, I'm really big on just being honest in the beginning. It's just like, okay, well, what's going on with you? Look, I got a few things. And I'm going to be honest right now. I got to nip some things in the bud. Mm-hmm. If you want me to be exclusive with you, which I know you're looking for, let's say that's the case, right? It's like, it's not going to work right now because I'm still getting that call at 2 a.m, which I don't really answer booty calls. I don't really do that. But, nah, man, look, I'm not I used to be the guy to show up in the hard hat and the shovel, like, I'm here to dig some holes. You know, I ain't 20 no more, man. This is stupid. But no. It's like, be honest in the beginning. So, like, if anything ridiculous does happen, it's not on you. It's not on you. Like, no one at this point can tell me I didn't tell them what was up. Mm-hmm. Straight up. Like, I just think life's a lot easier that way. And I think that's honest. Mm-hmm, and I think that's just something that we gotta, educate other people on. Because I still know guys that are older than me still freaking running around, whether they're ghosting people or just not telling women what's up, and then they get caught in, like, I don't know, at a park with another lady, and it's like, oh man, you said you was at Tony's house.
Like, you're setting yourself up for that drama, and I don't do that. Like, I don't need any of that drama. Just, and if you're in a relationship and you're on a dating site, you are misleading people and you're messing with their emotions and their heart, and then you're too much of a coward to, like, be honest, about where you are. So,
yeah, you
we ran into each other. I won't talk about it.
Talk about it again.
We ran into each other in D.C. Like, I don't know, it was a couple of months ago.
Couple months, yeah. At this point, yeah.
Yeah, so I met this guy. We had been talking for a month. That was our first date, but we did a lot of, like, I don't know if I had to go on a long drive. My sister lives an hour away from me. He would talk to me for the whole ride, and he loved vinyl and inspired me to, like, get a record player because I had a vinyl collection and just was, like, letting it sit there. Mm-hmm. And it was, like, real connection stuff. It wasn't like, ooh, show me a booty picture, or like what some people are like, show me your boobs, and I'm like, it's just so not interesting. So he got me in the intellect, like the mental, like that emotional and an intellectual
I got you.
Connection that women want. And then we had another date, and he brought me flowers, and then he ghosted the next day.
You sure those weren't like, I'm leaving flowers, like, hey, here you go, it was a good time. He just didn't say it. He just left. Here you go, baby.
I mean, they must have been. He just wasn't upfront about that. And, but, like, great kisser. I mean, I have not had, like, a passionate connection with somebody like that since my ex-husband. So I was like, yes, I'm ready for this. No fooling, no messing around. Like, some people, it's like, you just don't feel that spark. I felt the spark with him, so it was very stingy for me. I was like, and then I sent him a message. I was like, so look, I need you to be more consistent with me. That this, kind of like dead silence is not necessary. So just tell me what's up, because I would appreciate that integrity more so. Mm-hmm. He never responded.
Hey, at least he didn't say, oh, I got a wife.
I mean, that's probably the case.
Man, look. Hey, probably. Hey, there's some people that they realize when they flying too close to the sun. Not saying that's him, but,
Oh, yeah, he was not good enough for me in a lot of ways. Like, I mean, not to be mean, but, like, I'm very serious and goal-oriented in my career, and, he just was not. But sometimes I'm like, I don't need a person to be doing what I'm doing. I just need a supportive partner who's not going to be jealous of me or jealous of, like, connections I make while I'm doing what I need to do for my career, or who's not going to be, like, mentally or emotionally abusive because they're afraid that it would mean less time for them.
Or that you're possibly going to leave, this, that, and the other. I've been in that situation, trust me.
Yeah, it's not fun. So that's that's what I need in a partner. Like, please have your own thing going on, because I appreciate autonomy. Because if you can be a free, autonomous being, then when you come back together, your relationship is so much stronger, right? As opposed to someone who's like, you're a butterfly and you're gonna fly away and never come back to me. And it's like, ugh.
Yeah, and if they say that, that means they have a net and they're trying to trap you.
Right, and I'm like, I don't belong in anybody's jar. I don't belong in anybody's box. Like, but that's all I'm looking for in a partner. But, you know, that dude was not on.
Dang, man. That sucks.
That's too bad. I was taking a chance. on him.
I didn't even know what was going on. I'm over here having a final war drink. Like, the cat I was with, her best friend was one of the bartenders. So she's making the drinks. I'm having a good time. I'm like, what, Carly? And you know, I did the creep thing where I texted you first. I'm like, hey,
I didn't even see your text. I was like, that's Tovaun over there.
I just didn't want to bust over there like, boom, how you doing, god dang it? Or like, I just didn't know what to do. I was like, she might be on a date. I don't know what this is. I don't know what they're talking about. I don't want to be that person because I talked to, it was my friend Bria. Anyone that watches me, they know who she is. But
she's very funny.
Yeah, she's a card. She's a card through and through. But I was like, nah, that's Carly Harvey. We had her on the show at Yusuf's house. And she was like, I mean, yeah, go say hi. So I'm like, I don't know what's going on. They could be in there. I could just fuck up the whole vibe. I don't know what's happening. He could be speaking French to her and she's loving it. I don't know.
You know what? Okay, so in retrospect, I think about that date. I think he didn't have money, but he wanted to like present as like, yeah, I'll pay for the first date. And he was like, we can get some Brussels sprouts and one drink. And
oh, damn.
And then I got a meal. I was like, oh, I'm hungry. And he was like, you can have a meal. I'm good. I'm just going to have this gin. So he was drinking very cheap beers. And I was like, give me a whiskey ginger. Makers, please. That's my signature drink. And yeah, so now I'm like, oh, he couldn't keep up. He wasn't going to be able to keep up with me. It wasn't going to happen.
No, not at that point. That's ouch.
You know, oh, so sad. But, you know, well, it is what it is. So now I'm just not looking for a relationship at all because I think, yeah, I'm not looking for anything. I think anything I'm, like, seeking out passionately is not working out in my favor. So just
this is what needs to happen. Alone. You need to make a form that they need to fill out. No problem. Me and Yusuf will be the enforcers. We'll be in suits and be like, did you fill out the form? Let me review.
It gives you NDA. I actually did have somebody sign an NDA one time. Okay.
Before you hit his ass. Let me stop.
Okay, so yeah, I was supposed to be on The Voice, and it was the year of the pandemic. They still proceeded with the show, but I'd gotten up to the last round. Like, I had dates to go to LA blocked off, and I was prepared to go and meet the producers, and so I was that far in the process. Okay. And then I get an email saying that I decided to go in a different direction, and I was like, what? So I kept all the confidentiality. Well, now that years have passed, I did tell my mother and my sisters, but that was the only people I told. And I was like, well, I'm doing this opportunity and it's really, really great. I have got this NDA. And of course, you know, I was a very sexually repressed person. So I grew up with very religious and stuff like that. So I was like, I'm not having sex till I get married. So my first was when I was 25, and that's when I met Rabbit Freezer dude. / red light district dude. And then I had another boyfriend, and then my third boyfriend was my husband, and that was all of my experience. So I didn't really know. So after I got divorced, I did go a little crazy.
What's crazy?
It was it was just like, oh, I like this boy. I think he's nice. Oh, and then there were pictures were had.
I'm just gonna say this. Until you wake up and look yourself in the mirror and just go, damn. It wasn't that crazy. You just living life. That's all
I was living life. I mean, but I was doing some.
You were doing way more than you used to. I'll say that.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, especially like virtually, I was like, what is wrong with me? I was just a crazy person, and we were all pent up from the pandemic. Anyway, so I had people sign NDAs because you can't see me on TV and then be like, I got pictures of Carly. I'm like, no, you don't. Or I'm going to sue your ass.
Yeah, there you go. 100%. 100%. Hey, don't put that up there.
And the wording the wording in the NDA is like, this is like, basically the contract doesn't ever end. Like forever and ever, you may not.
I mean, you could like the moment someone posts that anyway, it's so easy to get them for revenge porn. Like you could just boom, that's it. We going to court, easy.
But I don't really have like distinct marks on my body where people would like know it's me. I'd be like, that's not me. That's another cinnamon raisin cookie colored lady.
Man, I mean, I only got like one tattoo, but I remember one time, and I did this on a close friends list. I put up a picture of it was my butt cheeks. And then it was one person that like commented, I know that ass anywhere. I'm like, anywhere? First of all, I'm like, anywhere, Slim?
Oh my
God. All right. But hey, look, if they can't identify you, then by all means.
They can identify me, whatever. And if I don't know, people want to do whatever they're gonna do what they want to do anyway. Like my ex-husband, even if like this very matronly dress I have on, there's like slight bit of cleavage, but even from the camera, you can't see a lot of cleavage. He'd be like, "Oh, all the men are gonna look at you, and you know what you're doing," and I'd be like, "You know what? People look at my pictures online and they do what they want to do with them. I cannot dim my light because somebody might be looking or what they might say or what they might think. Like, I don't make myself small for other people. They're gonna do what they're gonna do. Like, so let them. Whatever. That has nothing to do with me.
Nope.
Or my relationship, actually. So I just need a person who's more secure in that way.
Yeah, definitely got to do that, and a lot of people ain't.
Yeah.
A lot of people ain't.
So I'm just going to stop looking for them. So I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing for my
career.
Said,
and have the form.
Have the form. And now have the form enforcer.
I'm going to put on the bouncer voice. You on the list.
You on the list?
You on the What's your name? I don't know that name. No, get out of line. You.
Like, you're going to have to go to this address first.
Yeah, we got to get these papers out of the way. Do you have your paperwork? Have you been cleared? Huh?
Oh my God.
Now, these are your next steps. Do you understand? Do I make myself clear?
I can't wait. I'm
savvy.
I'm serious. I'm going to do this.
I'm down. 100%. 100%. Listen, I will show up to a show of yours, and here's a funny thing. For some odd reason, anytime I'm around somebody and like people always tell me they have a thing for them, and I'm just like, why do you always tell me? All right, go in, especially if I don't know if like the person's in a relationship or not. Whatever, like, go talk and say hi. I don't care. But if that's the case, and I'm at your show and somebody asks me that shit, I'll be like, all right, back up. Let me look you up and down. Spread your arms. All right, put them down. Hold yourself. Cough. Okay, now listen. Just do some weird assessment. Pat them down. All right, now, the stars are bright and big at night. They don't know what I mean. Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out.
Ooh, I think I would have to get out. I don't know.
That's one of them. We're in the heart of Texas things. I heard it on Pee Wee Herman like a long time ago. I was a kid when I heard that. Like it. No one knows what the hell that is. Like, if you're not from Texas, it's like, what? The stars at night. Like, what are we doing here?
I'm like, am I out of the loop? What do I
Totally
know?
out of the loop.
I don't know.
You gotta give me some references that you would know that only a person that you would be interested in would know. And then I would have to like say half a quote, and if they can finish it, it's like, all right, you passed phase one. Phase one.
Well, I know one.
Mm-hmm. No, don't give it away.
Oh, yeah,
here.
Okay. Oh,
they're going to take notes. They're going to come in. They're going to pass the test. I'm going to let them walk through. And then you're going to have a crazy person named Knick Knack Jack.
When we're done, I will share them with you.
Oh, my God.
It'll be our little secret. Yes.
Heck yeah. No, let's do it. Let's do it. So, like we're rolling up we're a little on an hour. Let's talk about what you have coming up next. Things that you are looking to do.
Okay.
Like in the future, like specifically with your music or any other endeavor, and then we can go ahead and wrap it on up.
Well, I'm doing quite a few music festivals coming up. So let's see. Oh, this coming Monday, which I'm not sure what date it will be when people hear this, but what day is Monday? What's the date?
The
25th?
Tomorrow?
23rd? Yeah, tomorrow. What day is today?
It's the 22nd today.
Okay.
So Monday, when this episode will be
Monday,
out, it'll be the
23rd. I'm doing it's like an open mic, but I'll be a featured artist, and it's a collaboration with DC Music Summit and Creative Suitland, and it's going to be out in Suitland at Creative Suitland, and you can see my social media, Carly Harvey Music or Carly H Music on Instagram for the flyers and info there. I think you do have to buy tickets, so you can go to Creative Suitland or DC Music Summit and also see where you can get the tickets. So I'll be a featured artist there, and it's called Sound Off. So it features poets and also musicians, so it's really cool. And then after that, I'm doing the Washington Folk Festival. I have a few private gigs in between, but you know, they wear me out there all day. Anyway, so the Washington Folk Festival. Oh wait, I'm doing I'll be at, what is that place called? Boundary Stone.
Boundary Stone? What?
Yeah.
Where's it at?
It's in DC.
Oh God.
I'm the old lady in the shoe. Let me pull up my calendar.
Like venues in DC now, I'm so far out the loop. Like it's nuts. I'm like, that's a venue.
Right. Okay. So, I'll be at Boundary Stone on Rhode Island Avenue on June 2nd from 7 to 8. Just doing an acoustic set, so that's going to be solo, as well as the Creative Suitland show is solo. And then Washington Folk Festival on the 5th. That's also going to be a solo show. And then June 11th, I'm going to be doing the Tenor Hill Music Festival. And that's especially exciting because Marsha Ball is the headliner. She's like a fantastic keys player. Like oh my goodness, like just an inspiration. So like she's gonna be rocking it out, and I'm gonna stay the whole day because I want to meet Marsha Ball. But yeah, so that's gonna be really awesome. And we play at 1:45, I believe, at the Tenor Hill Music Festival. That's June 11th, and let's see, after that, then I'm emceeing the Mulberry Music Festival, which is down in St. Mary's County, and it's on the St. Mary's College of Maryland campus. And my 7-piece band is performing, too. So I'm like, ooh, I'm the MC and my band gets to perform. It's so cool. And then in July, I'm going to be out in Portland, Oregon, and then I'll come back home for a little bit, and then I'm going to go out to Sacramento. So I have a very busy summer.
You better sleep when you can.
Yeah. I'm thinking of like, when will I sleep? When can I get sleep? Oh.
Oh my God.
So go to carlyharvey.com. It's for my website, and most of my social handles are Carly H Music, and that's Carly just like Carly Simon. There's no H's or I's or G's in it. Just
G? Oh, like Carly? Like Carly?
Yeah,
L-E-I-G-H.
I
get it.
Yeah. Somebody spelled my name like that, and I was like, but that's an interesting, why wouldn't you just spell it like regular first? Like, I would go to the default, C-A-R-L-Y, but some people are like, is it L-I-E? Carly with a K? And I'm like, stick to the default first, like, no one's offended by that.
It all depends. I have a friend named Jeff, and he spells it Geoff.
Yeah.
And he was one of like my first friends ever. So growing up, that was the only way I knew how to spell Jeff. I didn't know the standard was Jeff. I didn't know that. So
I'm so mean. You're okay. Got it. Some people just don't have a reference. That's so true. Yeah. Or on Facebook, I'm Carly Harvey Music, and Harvey is spelled just like Steve Harvey. We are not related, although my grandfather's family is from Illinois, and Steve Harvey is from Detroit, right?
Where that boy from?
So, I mean, it's in the Midwest.
He out there.
Well, shout out to my friend Whitney Waters. I was in a nightclub one time and I looked across the floor and I was like, that girl looks like me. And I normally don't say somebody looks like me. I was like, whatever. And then I was like, I need to go talk to her. So we chatted, we like became friends, and then we would have brunch once in a while and just catch up with each other. Turns out her mother's maiden name is Harvey.
Uh-oh.
And she is from a town in Indiana, which is 2 hours away from where my grandfather's family is from. And my grandfather's Harvey side is Scottish and Haudenosaunee, which is how you say Iroquois, but in the actual dialect. So my grandfather is Scottish Black and Haudenosaunee. And she was like, yeah, my mom is like indigenous and Black and Scottish. And I was like, we are cousins. So I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that little Scottish playboy could make his way up to Detroit. But as far as I know right now, there's no relation to Steve Harvey.
Oh my God.
Now, if Steve Harvey was like, I'm indigenous too, then I'd be like,
all right, wait a minute, big dog.
There was a Scottish man who liked Afro-Indigenous people and was getting it in.
They did work. They put on the hard hat.
They worked hard for the money. So hard for it. That's so nasty to say that about my ancestor.
You said it.
It was me, yes.
That's how y'all came about. It is what it is.
It is what it is, you know.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to leave the people with?
Well, I just came back from the International Blues Challenge. I made an impression down there, even though we didn't make it to the finals or win. We made an impression in the industry down there. And so it really didn't matter how the judges took things or scored things. There was a different win in that regard. And then right after that, I was at the Apollo. And I did amateur night at the Apollo. And people were like, be careful, you might get booed. You got to bring your A game. I was like, I'm not full of myself, but Carly Harvey is not getting booed at the Apollo.
Not gonna lie, I can't even imagine that.
Never. I mean, they were eating it up. The only thing was the guy who was like the host. He was like, this crowd tends to not like you modernizing a song, and I made that song mine, you know. And also the other contestants lived in New York, so their family and friends,
of course,
came out in troves. And
you're the foreign factor. You know.
I had 9 people from DC come up, which was actually like, I was like, that's 9 people. Hey, and one lady flew from Houston, Texas.
Hey, look.
I was like, you know what? Now fly your ass to DC for a show, like, you know, the next time at the Kennedy Center. But yeah, I mean, that was like, I was like, whoa, you flew from Texas to see me at the Apollo. That, again, is a different type of win. And nobody else directed the band the way I did. Like, and at first, like, you don't want to go into somebody's house and overstep, but I'm a band leader. I'm like the James Brown of blues. Like, I got my moves, you know. I found out every time James Brown went to the Apollo, he was booed.
Good God, what?
Yes, good God. Yeah, he got booed. But anyway, I think, like, James Brown and Ella Fitzgerald, like, they were, like, inhabiting my body while I was on the stage. Like, I just took up space in this way. And I think I showed up for myself in a way that I didn't realize that I could. And I was like, I belong on a big stage like this. So I'll go back to the Apollo anytime they invite me. And it was a great experience and just more inspiration for me to, wherever I got halted during COVID, I'm still ready to tear it up. And I'm going to keep going there. And probably when I get there, I'll have new places to go.
Oh, 100%. It's always, listen, there's a mountain to climb, and it's waiting for you to put your flag at the top. After you put your flag at the top, you'll see another one. It's your choice whether to stay where you are or keep going. That's all.
Right. I think right now I'm in a comfortable place because I don't even book my own gigs anymore in the area. People reach out to me instead of me like when I was saying when I was younger, before I started grinding, I was calling people desperately, please call me back, email me back, why won't you email me back? All these no's, all this rejection. And now I don't have to do that here. But now I have to, I'm riding the wave, right? It's very comfortable, it feels good. But now that I am tearing up, I have to start doing that all over again, just in different cities. So I've got to do that, like out in the Midwest. I need to get myself to Kansas City. I need to get myself to Minnesota. I need to get myself to Chicago. So I'm going to have to do the same things or get a booking agent. If you're a booking agent who's not on some bullshit, please reach out to me. And by not on some bullshit, I'm like, don't be asking me for 25%. That's not happening. So that's too much. And I don't need what I realize.
They want a quarter?
Because at some point, unless we make upwards of $20,000, then the booking agent is making more money than the rest of the band.
Yeah.
And that I can't do that to my band members. I treat them so fairly and like I respect them. So I couldn't do that. But I am exhausted, so a booking agent would be helpful, at least for certain things, or at least an international booking agent. So I am starting to get overwhelmed I'm like, oh man, I can't sit in my safe bubble anymore. Now I have to reach out and get the rejections again. And and I can't even remember who to follow up with again. I have to set myself reminders like send my EPK to this person on this date because they want it on for specific times and crazy things. But I'm very blessed to have the booked calendar I have and looking forward to my noon mountain to climb.
Hey, look, it's there. Climb it. I look at life like because, I do Muay Thai, I train all that stuff on the internet. Like, I look at everything like that. It's like, okay, this is a problem I have in front of me, and it's not just one. And if I stay in the same spot, I'm not going to progress. I'm probably going to regress or get hurt. And when I say get hurt, it's not like when it comes to business and, your career, it's not specifically you physically being hurt. It's just like, okay, well, maybe I took an L. I should have applied for this opportunity. Okay, they rejected me. All right, well, I can't worry about the rejection. Let me just keep moving. It's not about, like classical music, it's not about the note you don't hit. Hit the next one.
Yeah.
Hit the next one. So it's, like that's how some people, that's how you have to go about it. Because it's easy to get discouraged out here. Very easy.
I've seen so many posts online who are like, I give up on music. I'm not playing music anymore. And I'm like, have your moment. When you feel let down, that is real. And some people want you to be like, don't be a sore loser. And I'm like, no, don't do that to people. No. Disappointment is real and we're human. So we should be able to process our emotions. I mean, maybe you don't want to put them on blast everywhere, but find a safe space. Find a friend or a family member and say, yeah, that was unfair. Yeah, that was fucked up. Or I feel humiliated, or I feel like I let my people who believe in me down. Like, express all those things and process it, and then get back going. Get back on. But yeah, don't vow to give up because listen, if I were to give up after every rejection, I mean, there was one year everything I did was like, nope. Like, it was no for The Voice, no for Tiny Desk Contest, no for a Whammy, no for a grant to help me pay for my record. It was just like, no, 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 no. And I was like, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Have your moment, get back on the horse.
Look, you're going to face those times. You're going to face those times. And if you can get through it, you don't know what is going to happen if you go through that and then decide, all right, let me get back anyway. Because then here comes the new opportunity. Because if you let that take you out, then you won't know what comes next.
Yeah.
You just won't.
And you're not even aligned in a space of gratitude. That's what fake toxic positivity is tough.
It's real.
It's real because if you're sitting and pretending like, okay, I'm not going to lie. So after the Apollo, my feelings were, there was a guy who sang this woman's work. And it was very good. And all the ladies like when a man sings in his falsetto.
Oh, man.
The other two people, I was like, I don't know. it wasn't very moving. Anyway, because I had just been disappointed at the IBC, I feel like I was in a real space of like, what the hell is happening? I mean, like, what is going on? And my mom kept asking me questions like right after the show. She's like, "Are you gonna go talk to them? Are they your friends?" I was like, "They're not my friends." Like, I was like, "Stop asking me." I was like, "That shit wasn't better, and I'm just want to get in the car." And I feel really bad because one of the girls was like right behind my mother. I didn't see her. It was like such an ugly moment of mine. But I was like, had I just been allowed to feel how I was feeling and not pretend to put on the graciousness, like what a great opportunity, Yeah. It was, but at the moment, feel your disappointment, because if you're pretending it's not there, I guarantee you're not going to process it in time to have your palms open for the new opportunity. And right now, so what was the IBC was like 2 or 3 weeks ago? There's some other shit brewing already, which I cannot talk about. Right, but so I processed my moment, and now here I am, and I'm like, ready. Thank you, universe.
Good, man. Yeah. That's how life works, though.
Yep.
Especially with music or art in general.
Yeah.
Just keep going.
Keep on going.
Just keep going. Trust.
Not like a robot. What am I doing? I don't.
It's a different dance. Look, I want to thank you. Just thank you so much for coming out.
Of course.
Because I was willing to meet you anyway. I'm like, it's Carly Harvey. What do you want to do? I don't care where it is. But no, thank you so much for coming out. This is a good time, and I think people are really going to enjoy this episode. I am so excited for everything coming your way, and I just can't wait to see you shine more and more and more each time. So.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun, and I'll definitely come back for the episode about the church show.
Oh, no, definitely doing that. 100% doing that.
Or we can do like a skit and like post to like doing.
You know I like doing skits.
Yeah.
You know I like doing skits. Okay. All right. You know what? Stay tuned for a skit from Carly Harvey and Tovaun Anthony. Yay. It's going to happen. All right, guys. Till next time. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is Tovaun Anthony. This has been another episode of the On God podcast. Once again, the beautiful, just the Hold on. Carly Harvey, y'all.
Thanks. Bye.
See you later.
All right, people, thanks once again for tuning in to another episode of the On God podcast. Big thanks to the wonderful Carly Harvey. Follow her on social media at Carly H Music. Till next time, I'm your host, Tovaun Anthony. I wish you health, safety, peace, and blessings.